Good evening from our headquarters in Kiev. This is The Sunday Show at Dmytro International, the only prime-time television discussion in English explaining Eastern European geopolitical storm, and I'm Natalia Humenyuk. And this winter, we are providing you with what I believe you're interested in, the stories and the analysis of the candidates and their programs for the forthcoming elections of the Ukrainian president. And today there is also a unique case for myself because I have Dmytro Gnap, who is running for the Ukrainian president. And Dmytro is my former colleague, one of the co-founders of Hromadske, but had left an organization half a year ago, last summer, when announced that he goes for politics. So, Dima, welcome.
Yes, thanks. Hello, everyone.
Obviously, I probably would say that, of course, there is a disclaimer, so we know each other for a while, and we worked here, and we're in different positions, so there are some, obviously, I have to be critical, and we're in different roles, and thanks for respecting that.
To be critical.
Yes, absolutely.
This is one of the basic principles of Hromadske.
So, first of all, I probably would explain that you're running out of the party, the People's Power. Powers of the People,
yes.
Which is the Ukrainian party. We would discuss what the party stands for. You're running with this anti-corruption agenda, but and what also interesting, yes, that you're now crowdfunding the funds for being registered as a president. You need $100,000 US. We'll talk about that. Yet, generally, still, let me know why you have decided to do that, knowing that you have no experience in the politics. Yes, you are fierce I'm speaking about like a special executive power. You've been the anti-corruption investigative journalist. You know how to find and dig and prove that some people are stealing, doing a lot of wrong things. But why you really think that, why not just an MP? Why you have this ambition?
Well, now we are living in such times in Ukraine where we see a very strong demand on new faces in Ukrainian politics. So this is a high time to me because people really claim refresh and renovation of Ukrainian policy. And this is a good opportunity to get the power and to change the country.
I really understand that, in particular, like your.
So, if you are talking about experience, I want to say that as I think the first thing for politician in Ukraine, in every country, first thing, this is a motivation, because many years we saw very experienced state managers and very experienced politicians who finally ruined this country. So first of all, this is a motivation, transparency for politicians and strong willing to change the Ukraine.
Still, I would ask, maybe on the local level, for instance, at first, the city, the region or something, because governance, it's something very different than being a journalist, being an activist.
Well,
it's also about the not kind of it's compromises, not the part that you really do the wrong things, you know, like in order to have the good relations.
I'm really interested in did Václav Havel, former Czech president, heard some questions? I don't know, because yes. State management experience and years of working in executive power, this is good. But first of all, in our country, when you come to executive power, you're trying to change something. Finally, you can be infiltrated by this corrupted and absolutely failed system. So this is a high time for non-system politicians, you know?
What you are going to do and what is your policy? Because anti-corruption isn't really the policy or the ideology. You know, a lot of people say that it's enough not to steal, but that's not correct.
This is just one direction. Fighting with corruption, for me as a professional journalist investigator, this is just one way of government and state policy. We need to see on this situation in general, yeah, because corruption just like a symptomatic thing. Because in general, Ukraine now living in new feudalism way of life. This is a political system. We're not a capitalistic republic. We're a new feudalism country, monarchy, because our president actually, as a king, he is a stay above the law, and we have no governance of, we have no ruling of law and no good governance, because this is a new feudalism system when every privileged person, for example, prosecutor, judge, city mayor, could avoid, could be saved from the criminal prosecution when he shows the loyalty to the president, actually for the king. So corruption in this system of new feudalism, this is just a way of communication between these new feudals, you know?
So a lot of journalists saying like, okay, maybe this guy is okay, but who is this team? Because usually we point out that there is a person and behind him there are a lot of strange, odd people. Who are they? Who are the general prosecutor? Who are the head of the security service? Who is the head of the army? How are you going to do that?
Team,
Coming
yes,
out of the show
question.
your team.
Yes. Okay. So, as you know, I'm a member of People's Power Party, and won 2 weeks ago. I won party's primaries.
So yeah, I probably should explain that
yes.
the party had made primaries.
First, this is the first party in Ukraine who started absolutely transparent primaries. Yes.
Yeah, and so congratulations with the nomination, let's say. So
Thanks.
yeah.
Well, so first of all, my team, this is a party. This is a party, People's Power, and we have a good board of experts, people who are members of city councils, local leaders, and good experts with good experience in different fields of Ukrainian economy or executive branch of power.
Any kind of executive power, branch of power on the ministerial or like higher level? Because
not on ministerial, but they are trying to change Ukraine during last years, helping to provide new politics for change and for making reforms. This is a good experience. This is a strong experts, my colleagues, my party colleagues.
So look, zero tolerance towards corruption.
Absolutely.
Putting corrupt politicians in jail if they deserve. Then, let's say, less regulations for business. How much your politics and you know, Alexander, the not welfare, but the fact that the people would live better. That's also what Vladimir Zelensky, our comedian who is running, says. Mm-hmm. Why difference? Because the words are the same.
Not only he says such things. The question, every Ukrainian politician, when it comes to election, to electoral campaign, starting to say very good things. But the question is how this politician will do the things that he promised, you know? Try to remember, every Ukrainian politician, he says very good things during election, yeah, during election campaign. But every time he been elected, he trying to steal money from budget. He trying to support his friends on different spheres of economy and so on. All Ukrainian politicians every time they lie about their future policy after election. You know, we're really tired from these promises, good promises, yes. They're talking good points, they're talking good words, but this is just a lie.
Would you name probably very...
I want to focus here. I want to point this, that People's Power Party and me, as a politician and the party's member, we're just one first real transparent and real political party in Ukraine, because we have procedures, we have principles, and finally we're in transparent way trying to fundraise money for participating in this election campaign.
By the way, how much
we are the one.
How much you need to collect up to $100,000, a bit less, till the 3rd of February, by the end of the next week. How it's going?
Well, 5 days passed out of the collecting money, and we collected near $10,000.
So 1/10, yeah,
Yes,
1/10,
yeah.
around 1/10. We still have time. If about the, still, I'll go into more economic and other politics of what you're gonna do, but can just you really differentiate what the party stands for, and you, like, if you are president, 3 things you are doing first, like really, like actions, not the just generally program, but the rest, there should be some priorities.
Okay, as I said, if we need to destroy this new feudalism system, first of all, we need to establish ruling of law in our country. So real, not fake like today, but real judicial reform, this is the first point and first problem we need to solve.
While I'll also ask, you speak about the party, which is indeed has members around the country, but a lot of people say today we have the war with Russia. Today, Ukrainian economy is heavily dependent on international partners, donors, funders, wherever you call them. And this is exactly where probably you really have less experience. In the ways that in order to be presented in the negotiations, in order to have the people. So really, why you really think that it's doable? And like, who are these people who will deal with that? Because it's not just about, we have old politicians who were stealing, you get rid of them, and, like people who trust. This is something, this is a way bigger thing.
Well, many times I heard about you need to get more experience even in international affairs or internal affairs. If I have no experience in some field of government relations or government management, first of all, I try to find good expert and good driver of reform in this field. So I'm interested in allocated very good and very good, strong professionals in every field of reform. I'm really interested in creating a dream team for changing Ukraine. So first of all, this is my first hope. This is and first source of allocating of these people. This is a People's Power Party.
So look, if you go for the policies, for instance, what do you say about the relation with the IMF? Because the People's Party says that we probably should be less dependent. Everybody says it. Yet, like real actions. I mean, it's, later you'll find an expert, but you should be ready to answer.
Let's start cutting of stealing money from government budget, and we will have strong resources for declining this dependence from IMF.
But how do you make the deal with IMF? What we would say? What would be in this deal?
Well, sure.
That would be still the deal in the negotiation.
Absolutely, yes. What the question is? What's the way with our Current debts, or
Yes, current debts and current program.
we need to start negotiations for restructuring of these debts. But if we are starting, if we will provide anti-corruption budget with cutting of the stealing money from budget, we will have near $3 or $4 billion for our income part of
But we are
budget.
still in the process of getting the tranches, getting the money which we desperately need. So
Today.
it's too
Yes.
too early to say about the restructuring the debts. Like, if you really anything to fix in the current program.
Well,
And do you think there is a necessity?
if we are talking about restructuring, this is absolutely possible. Yes. So try to remember the Georgian experience. But if we are talking about cutting of this dependence from IMF credits, so it's really possible. Let's do this. Let's do this anti-corruption budget where we have near, as I said, $3 or $4 billion that every year draining from our economy by these corrupted dealers, corrupted officials.
So what should be our relations with international partners at this stage? How you would like to, I don't know, what are they, getting to you, but these are still conditions. That's life.
Absolutely, yes. So if our European and North American partners will see that we have absolutely new kind of politicians, transparent and very honest and principled. So they have, I think they will change their position in negotiations in Ukraine, and we will see more warm.
What would be the driver for the Ukrainian economy? The driver, besides having the money in the budget, because if you understand, and I think I'd like to follow up, because you said that there should be low taxes. So where the money to the budget come? Because you said the money are coming from the budget, which we don't steal, but...
Okay, how much money do you need? How much money do you need
I don't need, it's you running.
Let's find money in Ukrainian budget right now.
But how you find if you would like to have a low taxes, as I understand you would like to have.
So we need some compensation of these declining taxes, yes? Yes, let's try to find money in Ukrainian budget. As Ukrainian Prime Minister Groisman said, every year we are losing near 90 billions of hryvnia on smuggling. This is near $4 billion. This is it. So we have $4 billion if we will fight with smuggling in every Ukrainian state customs office.
Still,
Second?
Okay.
Yes. Second, this is an illegal gambling that you see in every city, in every even small village. Illegal gambling covered by top officials in Ukrainian government. Every year, we are losing near $2 or $3 billion from this illegal gambling. You know this problem, yeah?
Absolutely.
Third, this is energy schemes. For example, Rotterdam Plus scheme and corrupted fraud of oligarch Firtash in local gas companies. This is also. We could allocate near $1 billion. So now we have near $6 or $7 billion of this
it's still
extra income.
The portion, because the point of the budget usually is made out of taxes. And when the tax is low, there should be something, because what I understand, you're speaking about where we can kind of control, use some law enforcement, and get some money which today are stolen. But how to create economy out of which the economy would work, because you're speaking about like
you
getting
ask
some
about compensations for during process of tax declining, yes, or the tax decreasing, yeah. So I'm talking about this compensation. We have near $6 billion drained from our economy, from our budget every year. So this is a first source. Second source, this is a tax declining and cutting of state expenditures, because we have absolutely inefficient state management, because we have many government structures that even we don't know what they do,
But still, you see, like, when you really look to the polls, I'm speaking about what people and surveys, still one of the biggest issues for a lot of people is poverty. And there are a lot of people who need it, because it's not just about the money are stolen, but there is no services provided. Really, this state doesn't really provide. So, like, it's hard to imagine how less it can provide, because pensions are super low. A lot of services you still pay. It's not just even about bribes. Still that, like, if you live in a small town, and this is about the majority of the voters, it's definitely not very much appealing, because really the people are not secure. Absolutely,
yes. So let's help people to live in easy way. Let's share, let's support people for every Ukrainian citizen near 50 or 70,000 hryvnias very easily.
You mean like the salary, like, of this kind? You meant like, or what do you mean? Like, you just mentioned the amount, which is like 2,000 euros, a bit more, 2,500 euros. No, so you said that the people can earn that money. That's what you mean.
I mean, okay. Do you know how many state enterprise do we have? How many?
I'd like, we're speaking about like a few hundreds, way more, 300.
No, 3,000 and
there are 3,000 smaller and the...
Yes, if we will sell all these state enterprises, yes, that we could, our colleagues calculated the general profit that we could share for the citizens. We could easily allocate near 50 or 70,000 hryvnias from this selling of state enterprises for every citizen, and we need to share this. We need to get this to give this money to the people.
The other point, it's about the war. You've been here when you were just went to the politics, announced, and you then said that it would be you're in favor of canceling Minsk Agreement. So what would happen? What is the?
Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. We need to.
So you really would like to do that?
I don't know. This Minsk Agreement doesn't. They don't work.
They keep sanctions, for instance. They keep sanction. They are conditional for that.
So what sanctions will help us to fight Russia? So
what would help?
I mean, we have no serious effect, no serious profit from this Minsk Agreement, yes, and from these sanctions, we are still losing lives of our soldiers.
Still not the actual battle. So you seem like if we cancel agreement, imagine that would be attack of Russia. Yes, Ukrainian army is way stronger, yet we understand that those people don't care. They can have I don't know. I mean, like Russians have enough of military also to say like, okay, let them lose their life. Russians don't probably care that much also about the life of their soldiers. So
do you think Minsk Agreement stopping Russia from forcing from?
No, I'm asking you. I'm just like we said that. Of course, there is. I know what is an actual battle. You know, you've been reporter. You know, I've been reporter. So we spent first year on the front line, and I know what is an actual battlefield. I know what can be when there would be aviation. And what is this still kind of a frozen conflict when there was a shooting, yet not an actual... We know what is actual battle. When you can, you know, like the forces can move and things can happen to the local...
Okay, so as I think just Ukrainian army could stop Russian aggression in Ukraine and forcing and going ahead.
You mean like just standing and securing or... So what you will do with Donetsk and these territories? Then?
Really hard question. Solving of this problem, this is depends first of all from economical growth here in Ukraine, and economical growth depends from fighting with corruption and from establishing on ruling of law. So we are returning to the first point, establishing of ruling of law.
Dima, you yourself is from Donetsk region.
Yeah.
And what are your policies towards the population, which already for 5 years living under the separatists, and probably a lot of people, especially the youngsters, probably they were 13 when the war had started. So for them, it's normal. You know, it's not any longer that unusual to have these strange people running them. What should be the policy? Today we have the, I don't know, like the separation line. It's called contact line, though. There is all this issue with the Ukrainian pensions and the Ukrainian citizens. What do you think the Ukrainian state should do for them and how to act with this?
We need to show them bright and good example of Ukrainian development.
What is exactly the things they live together? Okay, imagine a person living in Horlivka or Donetsk. Okay, he's sitting saying like, oh, I watch Ukraine doing better. Still, they feel they sometimes accused to being collaborators. They probably losing the ground touch. For instance, one of the parties, like Samopomich, where one of the candidates we will go on out of the whom you might support if they are united, Mayor Sadovy, really says that, you know, this territory should be more or less like cut down. Yeah, we shouldn't care, we shouldn't provide. What is your views on that? What do you suggest for this population?
We need to help all people who now on these territories and want to collaborate to live here in Ukraine or to visit Ukraine. We need to help them, first of all. And second, as I said, this just development of Ukraine. This is a good. This is the best weapon for and the best way of solving of the problem.
And but probably would be, you know, interesting like later or at the time to go into the details, because, you know, it's we speak in a bit general, but there is everyday life of the person who really doesn't understand what Ukraine suggests. And of course, I said like this notion of a collaborator, if you're already staying there for 5 years, is there. So I'm just really saying like, what is the message to those people? Not just wait till we are good here.
Well, actually, on this problem, we try to provide the best plan for solving, and now we're in process on developing good plan for solving problem on these occupied territories. First question for me, just collecting money for participating in this campaign, and then you must be sure we will show good plan for solving this problem.
I would also ask, look, we like just not to repeating, not to being repetitive. When we talked before, we talked about some kind of ideological views. You said that, you know, you're not a religious person, but obviously we all respect the rights of the religious person, especially when we have now so much issues about the autocephaly, you know. As well, you said like you're a nationalist. And in some ways, yeah, so that would be something, you're a nationalist. Yes. However, you, for instance, you can, you know, accept the LGBT rights and would go to the Pride, as you said, if it's... we talked about that.
No, it's really cool to Pride, you know.
I mean,
so
like,
we are,
it will happen, you know, after you win, you know.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
After you win, it's usually in May or June.
I'll go. Yeah.
At the same time, yes, you said that there are some kind of nationalist group which are doing good for Ukraine, and there are some issues. So what does it mean? What is, at the same time, I should say that, and you said that you are not for some family values. However, if I look at the program of the People's Power, I should say it's rather, in the Western term to say, would be more about conservative, because it's about, for instance, civic patriotism. Usually, civic patriotism in the Western, in the terms which I understand, it's not about your ethnicity. It's about like you are Armenian, you are Ukrainian. It's based on the values, not about the ethnicity. Here, you said that it's respect to the tradition, culture, ethics. It's about the preservation of the Ukrainian traditions. Or, for instance, if you speak about they even say that we are for the cultivation of the family values. How it goes together? How you discuss this part of the program with your party, with your views, how they are all aligned, where you stand in the end?
Show me, please. Yes.
That's your program. Why you should give it? You should have it by heart. You're like, really, you should know it by heart. I can give it.
Maybe you are trying to get this point from general context, you know. Okay, so civic patriotism, good. So this is a normal European value.
Yeah, but there is something what it means. I'm not against, you know, like I can't say. I'm just saying that
respect
usually
to history, to tradition, respect.
Tradition.
Yes.
And tradition.
This is to tradition and to
tradition. And tradition.
No, to tradition, culture, ethics, and law. This is a good respect. Respect. This is a good. Respect yourself. Respect everyone. This is a good.
It's still a framework, you know. It's still a framework where you said, you know, look. Anyway, I'm not really just challenging,
respect
but
from people to people, yes.
If you speak about, let's say, ideological issues, so the people's power, it's more kind of could be compared to the national Democrats, Christian Democrats, you know, like. Or I'm mistaken. If you really look into the, it's not a good or bad. It's a position. You know, it's about the pluralism. However, I would like to go in line. Like, would you discuss with your party, for instance, the issue of the LGBT? Because for some people it matters. How would you mention the issue of the, you know, Ukrainian language or nationalism, what it means, and where we, for instance, saying that yes, some of the far right are legit.
Okay, so. People's Power, this is a classical liberal party and has liberal values and liberal platform. But we're not to be so narrow in this analysis, you know? So if we are talking about questions of national safety, yes, People's Power, this is a right-centric party because we have we're in war now, so we need to protect our country. We need to protect our country to establish these liberal values. If we will have no country, we will not establish this liberalism, you know, liberal values. So in questions of personal and civic rights, this is a classical liberal party.
Okay,
in economical liberty, economical fields, this is a classical liberal party. Party also declares respect of minority rights, and this is just one party who are talking very loud about respecting of the minorities' rights.
No, I think that it's good that we have this discussion because this discussion rarely happens in Ukraine, really, if you speak about the other things apart from like...
But this political analysis couldn't be so narrow, yes? If we are talking about safety questions, this is one position. If we are talking about economics, about the role of state regulation, this is an absolutely liberal position, you know?
Then my more or less final, if to go back to the campaign, so the position now we have two other candidates, Lviv Mayor Sadovy, the leader of the Samopomish party, and the Anatoly Gritsenko, who already for another time is running for the presidency, considered to be the candidate from the Democratic Force. However, you know, and the idea is that if they get united, you're ready to step away to support them,
to support this one candidate.
Yet, what are the conditions? And really, like, don't you have the issues with these politicians? Because, for instance, yes, Sadovyi is a mayor, but there are some of the accusation on corruption and some people. Because in Ukraine, doing
some people?
No, I mean like that the circle is not absolutely perfect. That like people around Sadovyi, you can always find something for every single politician.
Who, for example?
No, I'm speaking about, for instance, the business in Lviv. Like I'm saying that like Mayor Sadovyi is absolutely transparent and is said and everything is perfect. In every cupboard of Ukrainian politician you can find the issue. So, or would it mean that you don't have questions to Sadovyi and Hrytsenko?
No, I have many questions.
So what are these questions you have to them?
First of all, show your donors and your sponsors when you get the money for registration and participation in this election campaign, because me as a candidate and we are as a party, we are trying to be absolutely transparent, and we are collecting money absolutely in transparent way. No one, Sadovyi or Hrytsenko, they did it. They didn't.
Do you have a negotiation, or you just had the public announcement that you would support them?
Well, after my party's nomination, I made a statement that we will support this united candidate, this one candidate from Democratic camp. But now we don't. We are not in negotiating process. We're waiting when Sadovyi or Hrytsenko will decide who will be the one.
Will it happen?
I don't know. I'm not political expert. Yes, I'm just a politician, and I'll make my I'm making my campaign.
Look, and another one. So you're running from this People's Power Party. It's a party. It was established a while ago. Still, probably the question is no. We know a couple of journalists. Also, one of our co-founders, Mustafa Nayem, who is currently the MP and joined politician party, Poroshenko party, and is adherent critics today. Serhiy Leshchenko as well. Still, there are a lot of those people, Euro optimists, who united by this idea. Why you haven't created an alliance together to run all of you? That's probably the question what a lot of people from outside
This
think.
is a good question.
5 years been there. There was time. There was time.
This is a good question for them, because I asked them, guys, why you don't join to People's Power Party? Because this is a grassroots party. This is a party of liberal values. So I'll make this example. I'll make this step. I showed that I don't want to be separate, and I united to People's Power Party. So I proposed this for them.
You asked, but that was a question. Now you're in the position of a politician. It's up to you, to all of you. It's not them any longer. It's you all to do something together.
This is an old question. Why Democrats couldn't unite? Yes. Just before 5 minutes. No, not even 5 minutes before the death. Yeah. So could you answer why Democrats it's really hard to unite? Why?
There should be some. No, I am questioning. It's up to you to make this process. I'm not running. I'm not running. The point is, like, maybe that's also the political talent. That's actually the part of what politicians can do. Be able. So maybe they are not good politicians. Like, it's not always that the Democrats can unite it. Like, globally, probably the best one are those who can do that. So maybe it's not about just the nature. So rather question, like, what work you should do.
And every Democrat is really sustained person, sustainable person. Every Democrat has personal view of life, view of changing the world. So that's why Democrats is really hard to unite. But our enemies, our opponents, these members of these corrupted system, they actually is really easy to unite before about the
for the bad cause.
Yes,
yeah.
for the bad things. Yes. So we are trying to unite these guys. I do my best for uniting of Ukrainian Democrats because I proposed let's look. People's Power Party started absolutely competitive and transparent procedure or primaries procedure. Let's take part and let's people will decide who are the best candidate from our democratic camp. No one agreed. No one, but. From the beginning, some our colleagues from Euro-optimist camp, from the Euro-optimist group, they were very interested in participating in. But just me started in this primaries campaign.
I think that in the end, it's a job.
Ask Mustafa or Sergei
I will ask. The point is that it's a bit like it's not just a will, it's a job to organize the process. That's a political.
It's not the job of united and other politicians. First of all, the job of politician is to share personal view or personal vision of changing of life. That's the first job, and I have my vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dmytro, Dima, thanks a lot for explanation. I think the people are curious. They know you as an investigator. They have your stories. We have them published. So, thanks a lot for talking. I think that there is a lot to think. And yeah, that was interesting because now you're a candidate. We've been here together and good luck.
Thank you for inviting, and hope you will see. We will see more times.
And when you're the politician, we as well can ask all the questions.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Thank you. So thanks a lot for watching us. I just remind you can watch all our interviews and full version of the reports and the programs on our webpage en.hromadsky.ua. You can sign up for our weekly newsletter and as well follow us on social media, Twitter and Facebook. We're there 24/7. So all the best.